And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Cakewalk, easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude.
Floyd Mayweather has recently aimed at Canelo Alvarez's drawing power and in-ring performances, suggesting that some of the hype around Alvarez isn't justified and that paying premium prices for his fights may not be worth it. Whereas Canelo expressed frustration with his latest opponent, William Skull, criticizing the lack of engagement in the bout. The undisputed champion emphasized that it takes two fighters to deliver a compelling contest, claiming he entered the ring ready to fight and entertain the fans. However, Skull spent the night on the move, avoiding exchanges and turning the fight into a one-sided pursuit rather than a battle.
I feel great. I win, you know. I come to put a great show, but you know, to put a great show, you need both fighters. So, but at the end of the day, win is a win.
Are you frustrated with William Skull?
Yeah, a little bit, but.
What did you say to him at the end of the fight?
I say to him, you know, you just come to, you can not win a fight like that, fighting like that, and he say, I'm sorry, you know, it's my first time, and I just tried to put a good fight, and I'm so sorry. That's a mediocre mind. That's a mediocre mind because they come just to survive, to go to the 12th round. That's a mediocre mind. You need to put a good fight there and put great show, you know?
At the same time, Oscar De La Hoya echoed Floyd Mayweather's criticism, aiming at Canelo's recent complaints about facing elusive opponents. De La Hoya questioned why Canelo was paid top dollar to fight a runner, pointing out the irony in Canelo choosing William Skull as his opponent. He emphasized that if Canelo truly had an issue with slick, evasive fighters, he shouldn't have agreed to face them in the first place.
Canelo, Jesus Lord. Come on, you're getting paid all this money to fight against a runner who we all knew was gonna run, a Cuban style. You chose him, and now you say you hate fighting runners? Well then, don't fight runners. We all know who we wanna see you win against. That's Benavidez. Go up against Benavidez. Fight Benavidez, he won't run. What's wrong with that? It's a good fight.
Adding fuel to the ongoing criticism, Dimitri Bivol weighed in on Alvarez's performance against Skull, noting that the bout was difficult for the Mexican star. Bivol pointed out that Skull's constant movement and elusive style posed serious challenges for Canelo, who struggled to pin him down. He credited Skull's footwork and ring generalship, suggesting that his mobility was effective and a key factor in frustrating Canelo throughout the fight.
It's not interesting to see the fight when one person doesn't want to win at all. But it was hard fight for Canelo because he was always aiming, and even the Skull didn't throw punches, and it's hard to catch him. You know, he's just moving. But his movement is good, to be honest.
Yeah.
However, amidst the backlash, surprisingly, Teddy Atlas stepped in to defend Canelo Alvarez, arguing that Canelo's star power justifies the privileges he enjoys in the sport. According to Atlas, if Alvarez is given the freedom to handpick his opponents, it's because he generates major revenue and consistently draws attention to the events he headlines. Labeling Canelo as boxing's undeniable cash cow, Atlas emphasized that financial leverage often dictates who gets to call the shots at the top level.
You know, Canelo's the chosen one. He's the golden boy. He brings in the numbers. He brings the money in. He earned it. He you know, pay-per-view, the whole thing, the cash cow. So he can choose guys, you know, that he wants to fight better than other people can, or has the option that other fighters don't have. You know, and they're not the one that's necessarily bringing the money in, or the kind of level of money that Canelo brings. So he has the ability, the privilege.
Despite that defense, Jose Benavidez didn't hold back his frustration over Canelo Alvarez's continued ability to handpick opponents. Outraged by what he sees as leniency from boxing organizations, Benavidez Sr. claimed that Canelo will keep cherry-picking softer opposition as long as it's allowed, because it's easy money. He called Canelo's upcoming bout with Terrence Crawford another walk in the park.
Skull, what the f he accomplished, you know? I mean, at the end of the day, there we go again, you know? Who is Skull? I didn't even know who Skull was, you know? Now I read about him, I watched him a little bit, he's a good fighter. Terrence Crawford, come on, you know, he looked really bad in his last fight. He's going up 2 divisions, you know? It's, come on, bro, it's like we try to go up and fight Usyk at heavyweight, you know? Come on, you know? No, David's not ready to do that yet, you know? So I don't think Crawford's ready to do that either, you know? I see a EC2 fight for him, and that's what they want. The people allowed that, the organizations allowed that, so he's going to continue doing that. Why not?
Meanwhile, Floyd mocked the freedom Canelo enjoys in selecting his opponents. He implied that Alvarez consistently opts for easier fights, steering clear of real threats. Mayweather reflected on their clash, reminding the boxing world that he outclassed Canelo with ease, even while past his prime, and De La Hoya agreed with his sentiments. Floyd further emphasized that if it were up to him, he would choose tough opponents for Canelo and make him fight David Benavidez.
It's really that they don't want, it's not that they don't want to see Tank win because they feel like it's beating me because I dominated the fight game for so long. But these same writers out here, they praise Canelo. He can pick and choose who he want to fight. And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Cakewalk, easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Let me get this right.
Yes.
The Canelo that I built up, the one I used to fight on my undercard always.
Oh, shit.
And then thought he was on my level to face me, right? Then, when I was young and I was beating guys that was older, not quite my age, but let's say when I was, when I was 21, if I fight a guy at 30, they say he's over the hill. But when Canelo was like 22, and I was like close to, I don't know, like 36, 37.
He was 24, maybe.
No, I don't know what he was. I think he could have been like.
He was young.
He was in his prime.
Prime time.
So if he was in his prime, then they said, Mayweather, you got too much experience for him. Like I said before, I can't.
You can't. Yeah, I get what you saying.
I can't satisfy these people. These people ain't never happy.
All right.
Canelo, who actually I told Canelo, do not fight Floyd because you're too young. You have no experience.
Right. Well, but he's a much bigger man.
He is, but he's 21 years old, flexing his muscles like I can take on Floyd. I'm the very best. Guess what? You got schooled. You got schooled.
Pitched the shutout.
Exactly. I mean, it wasn't even close.
It was up to me, like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo, hell of a fighter, but my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. You know, that's just my personal opinion. And I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is. We want to see Benavidez. Let's make it happen.
Fueling the fire further, Mayweather didn't hold back, suggesting that Alvarez might be using PEDs. He implied that the topic of Canelo and potential steroid use isn't discussed enough, casting doubt over the legitimacy of Canelo's victories. According to Floyd, there's reason to question whether Alvarez was clean in several of his past fights, raising suspicions that PEDs could have played a role in his success.
You know, Canelo. Steroids. Y'all don't talk about that. So we don't know. We really don't know all the fighters he beat. And he was what he could have been not clean in a lot of fights.
Do you think he was clean the night he fought you?
I'm saying I don't know. I don't know. That's y'all. Just Canelo. Come on, man. That kid was a cakewalk. Kid easy.
Meanwhile, assessing the in-ring performance itself, the Wade Concept offered a critical assessment of Canelo's recent brawl with William, labeling the performance as underwhelming. He added that Canelo pressed forward and looked to initiate offense, but struggled to effectively cut off the ring. Though he landed some solid shots to the body, the attacks came sporadically, one punch at a time, lacking the sustained pressure and ring control fans have come to expect from him.
But it was simple. Skull was willing to move laterally, jab, not keep his feet set, occasionally would throw counter punches, and again, when he did throw counter punches, he had some success. And it just was like, why not go back and do that again? You're having some success, do it again. But it was just a lack of activity. And it wasn't just from William Skull, but on the other side, Canelo was not able to cut him off as much as he wanted to. Whereas Canelo is usually fantastic at cutting off of the ring, the body, when he let them loose. But it was one at a time as well. This was a left hook to the body and Skull would get out of the corner, or it was a right hook to the body and Skull would slide away on the rope. I think 3 of the top 5 least output punch fights in the history of 12-round boxing. I could be wrong about that stat, but someone is going to show me that it's not been great. Like, it's been very low output, very methodical boxing because of, again, a stylistic matchup, an idea or an approach to the fight as to, I'm just going to go in here and box slick or try to survive or be there to try to win a boxing match, not try to win a fight. I'm just shocked he didn't want to use more of his physical frame to try to put himself in positions to outmuscle Canelo or work his way in the clinch, and he just maybe wasn't confident.
Sharing a more scathing opinion, Showbiz the adult didn't mince words in his reaction to Canelo and Williams' fight, branding the bout as outright pathetic. Breaking down the stats, he pointed out that Canelo landed just 1 more punch than Skull overall. Showbiz slammed the excessive movement from Skull, declaring that the running style is damaging to boxing's appeal. In his view, fighters who rely solely on evasion don't belong in the ring, as they ultimately hurt the sport and its business.
All right. William Skull that was just pathetic. I don't compare William Skull to Haney. They're 2 different level of fighters. Haney's a far better fighter than William Skull, but he landed far more power punches than William Skull even landed jabs. But you have to understand what a power punch is by the numbers. A power punch is anything outside of a jab. But so by the numbers, that's how it looked. But when you look at the fight on top of the numbers Canelo won, but barely. When you look at outside of the numbers and look at the fight, the running shit, listen, bro, those people, either they can't get paid, good contracts, or if you have a style like that, something have to, because that will kill the sport. Like, that's not, at the same time, it's entertainment. That would absolutely destroy the sport. That will kill. Runners cannot get involved. It is. So if you're not willing to fight, don't be a fighter.
So if you're not willing to fight, don't be a fighter.
As the dust settles on that lackluster affair, all eyes now turn to Canelo Alvarez's next major test, an upcoming clash with Terence Crawford that promises to either silence the doubters or fuel the fire even further. Looking ahead to his upcoming showdown with Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez admitted uncertainty over whether Crawford will adopt the same evasive approach as William Skull. Despite the lingering frustration from his last bout, Canelo expressed excitement for the fight and remained hopeful that Crawford would come to engage. His focus, he said, is on delivering a true spectacle for the fans, something he felt was impossible against a constantly retreating opponent.
Do you think Crawford will employ the same tactics to try and box?
I hope not. I hope not, because the people deserve a good fight.
What do you make of the Crawford fight next?
Huh?
How excited are you for the Crawford fight?
I'm excited. I'm gonna enjoy this win, and then
every fight of Canelo Alvarez is big. So, but there is something. Maybe there is something. We'll see. Everybody is talking about with Crawford in September. It's not their secret, but like I say.
I'm focused 100% on May. So, first is first.
Do you think he'll add to your legacy, the fight with Crawford?
Yeah, he's a really good fighter. 2 times undisputed champion. He accomplished so much. So, can add a lot to my career. Yeah, I think it's gonna be bigger. Even the Mayweather fight is gonna be bigger than that.
You think it does more pay-per-view buys than the Mayweather fight?
Yeah, I think so.
Whereas Crawford himself has acknowledged the magnitude of the challenge. During a recent interview, Terence shared his thoughts on moving up 2 weight divisions, emphasizing that he is attempting something unprecedented in boxing. He noted that when experts and the media discuss fights, they rarely highlight a smaller great fighter defeating a bigger great fighter. Terence Crawford further acknowledged that while people know he can box and move, the real question is whether he can take a punch from Canelo Alvarez.
When you hear the media, when you hear the experts talk, you always hear all of them say, you never seen a smaller great fighter beat a big great fighter. So just hearing just all the things that surrounded behind the talks of Crawford going up to fight Canelo is intriguing. He's the bigger, he's the stronger, he's the most powerful fighter the thing is, we know Crawford can box. We know Crawford can move. But can Crawford take a punch by Canelo? We seen him hurt by Gamboa at 135. You know, we seen him hurt by Mean Machine, they will all say, which I don't believe I was hurt. Well, I'll stand on it. I wasn't hurt, but that's the narrative. Yep. We seen it. What is he gonna do when Canelo hit him?
Finding optimism in the build-up, Showbiz found a silver lining in the otherwise lackluster Canelo vs. Skull matchup, pointing to the intense post-fight stare-down between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford as the highlight of the night. The energy shifted and the moment sparked real anticipation. The tension between the two champions delivered the kind of electricity fans crave, setting the stage for a mega fight now brimming with hype.
I lost my mind. I had a boxing orgasm. I did not realize how much that stare down was going to do. I just wanted to see it and see how I was going to feel about it. We all know Terence Crawford is knocking on 40. And we all know Terence Crawford is supposedly the small fighter compared to Canelo. He's just too big. But then when these two great fighters met, and these legendary all-time first ballot Hall of Famer fighters.
However, not everyone is on board, as Mikey Garcia weighed in with his reservations about the fight. Garcia stated that he is not in favor of the matchup, pointing to the significant weight difference between the two fighters. While he acknowledges Crawford as one of the best in the sport, he questions how the welterweight champion plans to bridge the gap against a fighter who has been dominating at 168 pounds.
Although the skills, Crawford is one of the best fighters that I've seen. Now, Canelo is, fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154, and he had some trouble with that in that fight. Now, where do you plan on going? 164, 65, 66? Canelo ain't gonna come down to 160.
Yeah,
Canelo ain't gonna come down, maybe 166 max if he accepts. I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor.
Similarly, Teofimo Lopez weighed in, acknowledging that stylistically, Terence Crawford can compete and last in the fight. However, he pointed out that the weight difference remains a key factor favoring Canelo Alvarez. Lopez noted that while Canelo has improved significantly since his loss to Floyd Mayweather, he has also shown some decline in recent years. Despite this, Lopez ultimately believes that Canelo would come out on top in the fight, citing his size and overall strength as decisive advantages.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think stylistically, Crawford could stay in there long enough. However, it's just with the weight, and I mean, Canelo, he's gotten better ever since Mayweather, but now he's decreased a little bit. Nevertheless, though, I think that I think Canelo will get him.
Jumping like that much, getting hit, I don't think Crawford's ever fought a fighter that's hit him directly, just straight, constantly in the arms. And it's not because they can't, they don't think that way.
Appreciate it, Jim.
Gotta clear it out, guys. Remember, this man's been pro since what, 14?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
15.
Yeah. Doesn't make a big difference.
On the other hand, Adeola Oladipo offered a different perspective on the weight debate, arguing that Terence Crawford still looks athletic and sharp even when moving up in weight. Oladipo believes it won't be a major factor in determining the outcome of a potential fight between these two.
Crawford still looks so athletic, even when he does put the weight on, so I don't think the weight is as big an issue as some people say. It's an issue. I don't think it's as big an issue.
Meanwhile, supporting Crawford's chances, Jesus Ramos Jr., having sparred with Terence Crawford, weighed in confidently backing Crawford as the potential victor. He recognized the difficulties posed by Canelo's size and strength. Ramos highlighted Crawford's superior ring IQ and technical skills as key factors that could tip the scales in his favor. He pointed out that while Canelo is physically powerful, he isn't exceptionally large in stature. According to Ramos, if Crawford maintains distance, utilizes his boxing skills, and controls the pace from the outside, he has a shot at the win.
I think he can. I think he can get the job done. I think he's got what it takes. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Canelo's just so big and so strong, but he's gifted. Terence is gifted. He's got that ring IQ. He could box him. he definitely can. Canelo's not that big of a guy, you know. He's short, but he's strong. So as long as Crawford can, you know, keep him on the outside, box him, I think he can get the job done.
Backing that notion, Teddy commended Terence Crawford not only for his accomplishments, but also for his well-rounded skill set, emphasizing that when fighters can't rely solely on power, they must depend on other attributes. Atlas states that he looks at everything that can make a fighter win. He pointed out that Crawford excels in technique, defense, and offense, making him a complete fighter. Atlas described Crawford as one of those rare, special talents who can adapt and dominate at the highest level.
He has done everything asked of him, and he's done it in a superb way. It's not that he's just won. I look at how people win. You know, how versatile are they? How mentally together are they? What happens when they're tested? What happens when they have to make an adjustment? You know, I look at all those things. What happens when they can't depend on power? What else do they have to depend on? I look at everything, their technique, their defense, their offense, all of it. And I look at Crawford as one of those special guys. Okay, yeah, can Canelo handle the smaller guy who's going to be faster, who's going to be slicker, who's going to be better defensively, who's going to have better legs, you know, who's going to be able, sometimes Canelo at this point in his career can slow down a little bit. They're both getting older, I get it, but sometimes, you know, his legs aren't as quick. He don't close the gaps as fast. Is he going to be taken advantage of in that area?
Yet, casting some doubt on Crawford's punching power at higher weights, Joel Diaz pointed to Crawford's move up in weight to face Israil Madrimov, noting that he didn't do much damage in that fight. He questioned how Crawford would handle yet another jump in weight, arguing that while Canelo Alvarez can absorb any punch Crawford throws, the same cannot be said in reverse.
Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov is a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ.
As the boxing world braces for Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, the divide between skeptics and supporters grows sharper. With legacies and reputations on the line, this clash promises to be more than just a battle of skill. It's a statement. Whether redemption or validation awaits, the ring will soon reveal all. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who you got, Canelo or Crawford? If you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on the biggest fights in boxing.